as the general said, I normally don't have a bio, and now I know why. It makes me nervous after all that talk. Thank y'all for allowing me to be here with you. It's quite an honor to be able to speak in front of such a wonderful organization as the Rotary, and all the great things y'all do with your scholarships and your mission work, and with the environment on the tree planting program y'all have. It's very impressive. It's an impressive organization based on ethics and service, and I hope y'all continue and can get more people to buy into the four-way test, because I think the world would be a better place if everybody used those four-way tests. And I'd just like to say a special thanks to my former boss, General Rudisell. Y'all know him, and he's a great person, and he is an outstanding leader. He gave me some opportunities that allow me to see different perspectives and grow, and I appreciate that. Thank you, General. I'm going to introduce some of the people I have with me. I'm going to introduce all the people I have with me. And I'm going to start with the Troop H Commander, Captain Chuck Samanda. Chuck, stand up. Now, Chuck he's responsible for all of Troop H, which runs pretty much the South Carolina border from Cleveland County to Hope County, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Just been down here. He was in Salisbury before, but he's your go-to man if you need anything. He's going to do great things. He's a great leader as well. Beside him, I have First Sergeant Kelly Sturgill. That's pretty quick up and down, Kelly. Don't let her size fool you. She is a tremendous leader. During the DNC, which we had down here, of course, she had a lot of responsibility. We brought a troop and a half on top of the district and the troops she already had down here, and she pretty much was responsible for every roadway running around, and did one heck of a job. We're very proud of the job she does. The next trooper I want to introduce is John Bergen. John, if you'll stand up. John does a lot of things for us, and as you'll see when I talk more on the presentation, man, we lay heavy on education. We're involved with the Brakes Teenage Driving Program. We're involved in the school driver programs. With every opportunity we have that we can go talk to other people about how to be safe. Because a lot of times people just don't realize how important, what your tires are like. Do they all match? Do they have tread? You know, distracted driving, the dangers of dropping off on the road and becoming overwhelmed and overcorrecting. That's what John does. That's what he spends his time doing, is talking to people so he can save lives, so we don't have to go out there and talk to them on the side of the road anywhere. John, I appreciate what you do. And the next two troopers I'll introduce together is Casey Cornwell and Brian Thies. Thank y'all. These two, you may have heard about them. They were in the news quite a bit about a week and a half ago maybe. A young lady unfortunately had an accident and was severely injured. They were very close by. Cornwell was the closest, I think, and when Thies heard his voice, he ran over there to help him out as well. The lady, like I said, was severely injured. They got her out of the car. She was not responsible, but they also noticed that she was 9 months pregnant. For almost 20 minutes, they performed CPR, pretty much knowing that the mother was not going to make it, but in hopes of giving the infant an opportunity to live. And the child lived briefly and unfortunately didn't make it, but that's still heroic work. The general asked me to come down and talk a little bit about the patrol and what we do. And I've got a video that'll show you, probably better than me up there rambling around, that kind of everything we have our hands on. So.
The North Carolina State Highway Patrol was founded to protect the motoring public. The mission of the patrol is to provide safe, efficient transportation on our streets and highways, reduce crime, protect against terrorism, and respond to natural and man-made disasters. It is a partnership with all levels of government and the public through quality law enforcement services and education based on high ethical, professional, and legal standards. The patrol strives to set the standard for excellence in law enforcement. To become one of today's troopers, Highway Patrol cadets undergo a rigorous 29-week paramilitary basic school at the North Carolina State Highway Patrol Training Academy. From the academy, troopers complete field training in their assigned districts. North Carolina is second only to Texas in the total number of roadway miles, with 6.5 million licensed drivers and over 8.4 million registered vehicles. The Highway Patrol has a daunting task. With only 1,827 troopers, the task to accomplish our mission is challenging yet gratifying. The patrol is divided into 8 troops across the state, each troop split into districts covering at least one county. Each of the 8 troops is supplemented by an SHP communication center manned by highly trained patrol telecommunicators serving as lifelines to troopers in the field. Statewide, troopers benefit from skilled civilian support staff. Specialized operations enhance the patrol service to the state. Those services include the aviation unit, the criminal interdiction team, the K-9 unit, the motorcycle unit, the collision and reconstruction unit, and finally the K-9 unit and honor guard. The aviation unit, which consists of 9 helicopters and 20 uniformed members, is strategically based across the state in Kinston, Raleigh, Salisbury, and Asheville. Although it is utilized internally, the majority of its use encompasses law enforcement agencies statewide. The aviation unit is often called upon from other agencies in assisting in search and rescue, manhunts, and drug eradication. In 2010, the aviation unit assisted 150 agencies, resulting in 879 total missions flown. That averages out to approximately 17 missions per week. As a result of their efforts, the aviation unit recovered 106,000 grams of controlled substances with a street value of $6.9 million, 58,000 marijuana plants with a street value of $87 million, $200,000 worth of recovered property, and made 109 arrests. And most importantly, 17 persons were located through their efforts and resources. The patrol is proactive in maintaining community partnerships to promote safety on the roadways. The North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles Enforcement Division was restructured and placed under the control of the Highway Patrol. The move was focused in consolidating two similar agencies whose main function was to enforce motor vehicle law. The merging resulted in the creation of the Motor Carrier Enforcement Section, whose primary function is to promote highway safety, enforce all state and federal laws regulating highway and commercial motor vehicle operations, resulting in reduction of crashes, injuries, and fatalities involving large trucks and buses. In 2010, the Motor Carrier Enforcement Section conducted over 90,000 commercial motor vehicle inspections and weighed 9.9 million commercial motor vehicles. In addition, they assessed over $1.7 million in out-of-service fines and $8.4 million in motor vehicle size and weight violation fines. In 2002, the State Highway Patrol was identified by the Legislative Criminal Justice Information Report as the managing agency of the 800 megahertz statewide voice and data system. The system, often referred to as VIPER, stands for Voice Interoperability Plan for Emergency Responders and is a vital function of the communication between multiple agencies statewide. Interoperability means that public safety agencies, including law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical services, can talk to one another via radio communication systems, exchanging voice and/or data on demand in real time during an event. In 2010, troopers traveled over 44 million miles and spent over 1.2 million hours patrolling the highways of North Carolina, which resulted in approximately 886,000 citations being issued. That's over 52,000 more citations issued than in 2009. One area of concern is the recent trend in teen traffic fatalities. Emphasis was placed on reducing the number of teen deaths in 2010. Through intensive education and enforcement, the patrol experienced a 40% reduction in teen deaths when compared to 2009. Troopers statewide investigated over 116,000 motor vehicle collisions. Of that, injury and property damage collisions were down 8% compared to the previous year. In 2010, troopers made over 25,900 driving while impaired arrests compared to 25,300 in 2009. Amazingly, 43 arrests involved the operation of a commercial motor vehicle. Troopers issued over 413,000 speeding citations. Of that number, nearly 17,000 involved motorists traveling greater than 25 miles over the posted speed limit. Troopers issued nearly 20,000 careless and reckless citations and over 129,000 seatbelt citations, or 14,000 child restraint violations across the state. The Patrol is a nationally accredited flagship law enforcement agency and has been recognized by organizations such as Mothers Against Drunk Driving for its efforts. Patrol members, both civilian and sworn, are continually dedicated and effective in their service to the state of North Carolina. Since the Patrol's inception in 1929, our core mission has been to provide public safety. In creating safe roadways for North Carolina citizens, 61 members have made the ultimate sacrifice by giving their lives. Despite the dangers, troopers continue every day to provide their service.
As you can see, we do a lot of different things and carry quite a load our troopers do in this state. And one of the things they talk about a lot in that video is the number of citations we write. Well, for us, it's not about writing citations. It's simply about saving lives. It's a means to an end, if you will. Every year, last year and the year before, over 32,000 people were killed on the highways in the United States. That's a little more than 88 people each and every day. Or think about it this way, almost 4 people an hour are going to die on the highways. 1,162 people were killed in North Carolina last year. That's 21 people a week, 3 people a day. So think about that. 3 people today, their family's going to have that knock on their door, and they're going to be told that they won't be home again. And that affects not just the person who was the victim, but countless other people. And we believe that can be changed, that these traffic accidents can be preventable. And we strive every day, and our campaign is to have 0 traffic deaths. Because people say, well, is that realistic? Well, I'm not sure if it is or not. I believe it is, over time. Just like any baseball team or basketball team, they go out every season and think they're going to win every one of them. But just because they lose one doesn't mean they quit. They go back to looking undefeated again after that. And that's what we do each and every day. We go to as many days as we can without a traffic death, and then we start over if we have to. But we hope those days broaden out and we don't have to be there. Education, and that's the reason I brought Food Burden here. Education is the crux of what we do. The more people understand how dangerous that vehicle is and the hazards of the roadways, and know it's not one of these things that doesn't happen to me, because it can happen to you and it can happen to your family. I lost my grandfather to a drunk driver a few years back, and I wish he was still here today. But rest assured, those people that we cannot reach through education, we will do our very best to reach them through enforcement. The video does a very good job, I think, of showing what we do, but I think it falls short on who we are. And frankly, I think who we are is more important than what we do. Because first and foremost, the Highway Patrol is a family. This family bond begins in patrol school. As you saw, it's a 29-week military-based program that I think rivals any in the nation. And as I think many of you know, those who served absolutely know that any bond established while suffering is a bond that you won't lose. And so they stuck together and they earned the title of state trooper. And they stick together for an entire career. One of the things we pride ourselves on is the troopers being leaders. Regardless if they're the newest trooper or the oldest colonel, man, you're expected to lead. I believe that one of the most important parts, if not the most important part about leading, is caring about the people you're trying to lead. If you can honestly put their interests first and look after them, I think they'll follow you anywhere. And that's the reason I think we're such good leaders, not only to ourselves, but also to the citizens of this great state. We ask our people to look after each other and intervene early and often, know each other, have a relationship with each other, just like a family. And we tell our people, we tell our leadership, man, they need to be out front and alongside our members. I echo the words of Admiral William McRaven, who tells leaders to go out and find the dirtiest, nastiest, and most dangerous job your people can do and go do it with them. And that's what we require our leaders to do. People who join the Highway Patrol do so to be a part of something special, something bigger than themselves. People often ask me, you know, what's the one thing since I became colonel that I wasn't aware of? What surprises me? And it's always the same answer, and it's really the only thing that did surprise me, was how many great things troopers do each and every day. I brought a couple of examples. In the same week, we had an off-duty trooper on his way to go get his honey bun for the morning. And he saw it was the morning down east when the roads, they took a little bit of ice, a little unexpected ice. He saw a woman and her two children go off the roadway into a creek, a deep creek, and flip upside down. After just a few, as that thing rolled, it rolled back on its wheels. Trooper Mato stopped, went back to the scene, went into the ice water, and pulled all three of them to safety. Those are the kinds of things they do each and every day. And not just the heroic things, which those are heroic things, but it's also the simple things of stopping on the side of the road, making sure people are safe when they're broken down. I've seen troopers, I can't tell you the number of them, but who go out of their way to buy meals for people who don't have. A lady the other day got lost on it. She's an Amber Alert, a senior citizen. She was family trying to get up with her. They couldn't get her to answer the phone. They gave the trooper the phone number. He called it. She finally answered his call. She was South Carolina, headed south. And he got her to turn around, get back into North Carolina, stop at the Waffle House. He talked to the people at the Waffle House. If you'll feed her and keep her there, I'll pay for whatever she has. And he drove down there and got her and took her back to her family. Those are the kind of things our troopers do each and every day. And that's what makes me very proud to be a part of such a good organization. But it's also, as you heard in the video, it's a very dangerous job. 62, at this time, 62 troopers have given their life to service to this great state. And I guess for me, just a little personal note, I was out of the Marines and I was on the patrol, and not much fazed me. I was a pretty good drunk guy, so I arrested quite a few drunks, and every morning after like a Friday night or a Saturday night, I'd go out and look at my car, clean it up, make sure everything was fine. And I was out there one morning, and there was a 380 laying underneath the passenger seat, didn't belong to me. And I realized right then, sometimes it's just the grace of God, but it's also a very dangerous job. And I think that troopers that are working the road today have the most difficult job of any law enforcement in any time before us. I mean, you got so many terror groups. Anybody in uniform's a target. You see these lone wolves, or as the Director Comey always calls them with the FBI, these lone rats who go out and try to do these things. They want to make an example of somebody in uniform. So they're never really safe. They can never let their guard down. And it's just not your overseas terror groups. Terror groups like the United Blood Nation, who's very strong in this part of the country, who've raised havoc on a lot of people. They also have to deal with those, and not to mention just social media and everything they do underneath the microscope. So they're very, very difficult, very demanding job, but I will say this for them. I personally believe they do it well, and nobody could do it better. So I appreciate what they do. General Russo asked me to talk about some of our challenges from the Highway Patrol and looking forward. And some of our challenges are, of course, our number one goal and the thing we get up every day to do, and that's save lives. And so we're going to strive to continue. We've got several programs in place. We do fatal quarter review, so we look at every fatal accident we have in every troop to see what can we do better. We have DOT, the district attorney, medical examiners, all are party to this, who come to see how can we make improvements and save the lives. We're currently the ninth most populous state in the United States, and as you heard, we have the second most roadways. But our Highway Patrol has essentially the same people that we had in the late 70s. We lost 35 troopers through the budget cuts last year, probably 20 before that, and if we're not careful, we may lose another 35 this year. That's not being critical of anybody, it's just the times due to the budget and the revenues not being what they need to be. But that's a challenge for us. And of course, our biggest challenge and our most important challenge, as far as I'm concerned, is recruiting qualified applicants. Unfortunately, police work, law enforcement is not as popular as it used to be. People see things like Ferguson, Missouri, New York. People are not sure they want to get involved in that. I talked to Mike Oliver down in South Carolina the other day. He's the colonel down there, and his applicants had dropped off 45% since Ferguson. He had members turning in their resignations and going home because they didn't want to be put through that kind of scrutiny and put in that kind of position. But I believe it's an honorable service. It's an outstanding job to have. And I think that we have to work hard and encourage members, young qualified applicants, to join the Highway Patrol. One of the challenges within that challenge is recruiting diversity. Females and minorities, as with any organization, they're a premium. And with a $35,000 a year starting pay rate, it's hard to get that qualified applicant, especially somebody sought after as the minorities and the females, but it's something we've got to do. We have to be reflective of our population that we serve if we're going to have their support. And so that's one of the things we have there. And I ask you, if you know someone, if you know a young man or a young woman who would do a great job, kind of like the Marines, we're looking for a few good men and women. We don't need a lot, we just need a few. So if you know one, please recommend them to us. Call Chuck Semender or Kelly Sturgill or any trooper you see and say, hey, I got a trooper for you. Let me give you his name and number. 21 to 39. Anybody 21 to 39 can come join up, okay? And I'd never like to talk about challenges without talking about opportunities, but the same opportunities exist, or some of our challenges, is the fact that, man, we can make a difference, and we do make a difference, but we can make a bigger difference with a concerted effort and working together, not just us as the Highway Patrol, but with everybody, with the community and everybody. So I appreciate y'all having me here, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take those at this time.